Okay, we are back. Hi.
Hi.
First of all, we have a lovely guest today. Let's hear it for the guest. Come on.
Hey.
All right, that's right. Drop your coat on the. All right, we have. There you go. The kids are back. It's Wanda Nordlie of Nordlie, and Nordlie, Inc. Right? Wanda's going to. What's that?
No, go right ahead.
Wanda's going to tell a story. It's going to make your hair stand on edge. Mine did.
Which one? No.
It wasn't easy. Thank you. And we have Gino Fratelloni. Let's give him a hand. I guess the kids are on vacation.
Whatever the kids.
All right. He just came in from Rome, New York. There they are, a little late. Things don't usually go this well.
Yeah.
And Gino, will not. This is we're trying to raise money for this station, which is called WestfordCAT. And now, I hope you understand English with an Italian accent.
Oh boy.
Gino Fratelloni. Gino, take it away. Let's give Gino a big hand.
Visit www.com.
You're yelling. Gino, calm down.
crowdrise.com to help support local TV. Okay? Want to learn more and get involved with your local TV station? Become a member. Supporter, $25. Household, $40. We need more members, and also you will enjoy when you come here and you can whatever use it for whatever. Expect advice for the gentleman Edward Cohen. He will give you all the. What would you give him? All the facility to use this particular TV station, right?
I'll be in the bathroom. I don't know about you.
And now you read that.
Okay, so the Westford Rotary Club presents Spring Artists and Craft Festival, featuring approximately 100 exhibits from Massachusetts and the Northeast, exhibiting fine locally made crafts and artwork. For more information, you can sign up to be a vendor. Email westfordrotaryclub@gmail.com. It'll be held at the Westford Valley Marketplace near Whole Foods on Littleton Road in Westford.
Littleton Road is Route 110.
Okay. And it will be held on April 4th and 5th. April 4th, it will be from
10 a.m.
10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And April 5th, it will be 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. and it's free admission.
And then you show it.
Yep.
Beautiful.
But they can hear what you're saying, you know.
Thank you.
In case you didn't, now you can show it. Hold on, let me show it.
Okay. You're on that TV, yeah.
Is it on? It's on. Okay, look on the screen. It's on. Mm-hmm. All right. Now, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Done a fine job. Now you can leave. I have a book here written by, what's your name again, Wanda?
Wanda Nordlie.
Wanda Nordlie. It's Nordlie. And look, on the screen we have everything you ever wanted to know about Wanda. Author, speaker, coach. Football?
No.
Basketball?
Life coach.
Life coach. Even more better, as the students would say. Now, Wanda's written a book, and it's called, what's the name of it?
Power to Heal My Whole Self.
There it is. You can see that? Look at that there. Oh, it's not hiding my face. Oh, there it is. See that?
Yeah, it's also available on Amazon.
The river?
Amazon, the website.
Oh, the website. Okay. All right. So thank you. And how many pages is it? Wow.
It's a lot of pages.
I wouldn't go that far.
How many?
182 pages.
And there's some blank pages in there too.
Hey, don't talk about that. Doesn't matter. That counts. I didn't have any blank pages in my book.
Oh.
No.
Well, there are in between sections.
Yeah. No, there isn't, because I just ripped right through.
Okay.
All right. Wanda will now tell you a true story. By the way, Nikki's not here today. She's on assignment. Oh, yes. Now, Wanda will tell you a true story which will make your hair stand up.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Wanda, you have 23 minutes and 42 seconds.
Okay.
No, about 20.
Do you want me to talk to you?
Go ahead.
You can talk to the audience, because, you know,
Oh, over here.
all 300 people sitting here.
Okay. So, as Ed said, my book is Power to Heal My Whole Self. I wrote it in about a year and a half. It is more of a memoir of my life. And I wrote it to the purpose to try and help other people who have gone through any kind of challenges that I went through in my life. And it starts out basically when I was 5 years old. I was in my room in the house, and I heard my stepfather screaming at my brother, and I really became terrified. Every time he went into these rages, it was never anything good. So he was screaming at my brother, asking him who ate the food that he had brought into the house. And unfortunately, we weren't allowed to eat the food that he brought into the house for his 2 daughters.
What did you eat?
A lot of times, not a lot. Not a lot. So.
And nobody knew about him? What about the people, the agency or whatever?
Well, we were in and out of foster care system. I was in and out of the foster care system from the age of 2 to 7. So back and forth, you know, with my biological mother taken away, brought back, and things like that. So as my, you know, stepfather was, you know, getting more furious, my brother finally answered him and said, you know, I gave the food to my sister. She was hungry. So he immediately, you know, picked my brother up like a rag doll, flipped him over, and held him up by his ankles, and began to smash his head on the floor and rise him up and do it again. So I just got really scared and said, you know, yelled at my stepfather saying, you know, just let him go. I won't ever eat food again. And, you know, I think, you know, at that time, you know, he finally did let him go. And then, you know, I went over to help my brother, and my biological mother was, you know, laying on the bed or sitting right near us. And I just looked up at her in disbelief, because I couldn't believe that she would let, you know, her husband abuse her own children. And, but, you know, she drank every day, all day. I'm not making excuses for her, but this was her life. You know, she just didn't know how to manage her own life and the children that she had. So.
When did she start drinking?
Oh, I don't know. As long as, you know, she always drank as long as I remember.
He made her drink more, the way he acted?
Who? It made my mother. I don't know. They both drank all the time.
Oh, good.
So.
Well, at least they were, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
excuse me, was this in an apartment building or a house?
we were in an apartment in a house, yeah.
Nobody else? Wasn't
There were other apartments in the house.
And they didn't
yeah.
hear this?
They didn't hear it? I don't know.
They want to get involved.
Probably not.
Sounds like 2020, doesn't it?
Yeah. It was in the 1960s, so a lot of people didn't really, we didn't go to school or anything, so we weren't like allowed to play with the kids outside. We had to you know, stay within the family, because, you know, the social workers would come all the time. You know, as I said, we were in and out of the house in different foster homes. So they, so when I was 7, so 2 years later when I was 7, they brought us, 5 of us, there was 5 of us in the house, they brought us to court. The social worker brought us to court, and we're going to have another hearing. And I didn't know it at the time, but they were taking us to another foster home. And so at 7, I entered my 5th foster home, and eventually that is where I stayed. And
were they all like this, or just?
What do you mean?
The people? I mean, every home you were in?
Were they all what?
Abused?
Mistreating.
No, it's just that
Why did they keep moving you then?
Well, it's just that the court system kept giving my mother another chance, and so they would. The courts always want to try to reunite the kids with their biological mother.
They didn't know she was an alcoholic, probably.
Yeah.
How could she hide that? It's hard to hide it.
Yeah.
You never know.
All you gotta do is look in the trash, for God's sake.
Well,
Yeah. It's.
go ahead.
It's difficult, you know. The system always protects, you know, always wants the kids to go back with their biological
Don't they
family.
ask?
They keep, you know, that's why I said in and out, you know. So this, anyway, so when I was 7, I entered my 5th foster home, and then at age 8, I was sexually abused by my foster father. And then, but I stayed there and then was adopted by them at age 13. So I, even though that happened, you know, the system never knew about it, but, you know, I stayed.
You never told anybody?
I told my my foster mom, but
She didn't do nothing.
she said she asked him and he said no, so she thought it might have been something that happened in another foster home, that she didn't really believe that it happened in her home. So
Sounds like denial.
yeah, I don't know. Like, you know, and it was never mentioned again, and it stopped because, you know, she confronted him obviously, and so it stopped. So I never said anything to her again, because it.
What about if you said something to the judge or social worker?
I could have at the time I was getting adopted, but so I go to court to get adopted at age 13, and the judge asks me, you know, do you want to be adopted? And of course my mother says, of course she does. And the judge says, no, I want to ask Wanda if she wants to be adopted. And you have to remember, or you have to think about that, you know, I was in and out of foster homes from the age of 2 to 7. And now at 13, which is really almost aged out of the system, if I say no, where am I going to go at age 13? So I stay.
So they won by default.
Well, I said yes, I wanted to be adopted, you know.
But not by you.
Yeah. Well, I did. So, you know, it's a decision. It's a hard decision for children to make. It really is. And you know, I wish I didn't have to make that decision on my own, because there was so much conflict around the decision, you know, and scared, like I said, scared, you know, where am I going to go at age 13 if I don't say yes, you know.
Did they bring that up?
No, they didn't bring that up. So, so anyway, yes, I was adopted, and then at age 18, I moved out on my own, had a job, got an apartment, and moved out on my own, because I don't know, for the next 5 years, it just never really felt comfortable to, you know, like being around my abuser all the time, and keeping that secret that I really didn't want to keep. So I moved out at 18, and at age 20, I met my husband. We dated for 4 years before we got married. I got married when I was 25, and we had we had a really good life. He was very, very good to me, and I was able to tell him all the things that happened when I was younger, and he still stayed right beside me, which was, to me, was amazing, because I used to think, you know, if I ever told anybody what had ever happened, they would like not want to.
They wouldn't leave you.
Yeah, they wouldn't want to be my friends with me. That they wouldn't want to be in my life, whatever. So, you know, I isolated for many years, all through high school. You know, I didn't tell anybody anything. It was like putting on this facade all the time of being happy and, you know, making believe that everything was great, and I had this wonderful family, and, you know, and it just used to eat up, you know.
How old was your brother at the time? Was he younger?
Which brother? The one that was beaten by my stepfather? Yeah. He was older than me. I don't know where he is or where he ended up after we got separated. We got separated.
Never saw him again, huh?
I did once or twice, but then he was a drinker too, and my mom that adopted me, she didn't want him to come around because she was, you know, afraid it was going to be a bad influence on me.
That's too bad.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, so anyway, so we dated, got married for 4 years, and then after 4 years, and then 2 years after we were married, I ended up having I guess like a breakdown. They said my husband was at work, and I was alone, and, you know, I just had to make dinner for him when he came home. It was a Sunday. But when he came home, I was laying on the floor between the bed and the window, and he had no idea why I was there. I had no idea why I was there, and so...
Like a shock.
Yeah, yeah. What had happened was I had just like in one day remembered all the things, the sexual abuse, the physical abuse, the emotional abuse, all the abuse that I had taken, and all the things that had happened to me up until that point in my life. And so I just remembered everything like in one day. So it was pretty terrible. I had to go to the hospital for a little while to work with some people to help, work through all the trauma, work through what I was remembering and things like that. And then my husband drove my parents to the hospital to see me, and my mother was yelling at him in the car, saying, what did you do to my daughter after 2 years of marriage to make her end up here and all this stuff. So he spoke right up and he said, your daughter is suffering from being sexually abused as a child. And he said you could hear a pin drop in the car. They just stopped because they both knew. It just was, it was never spoken about outside of the family and things like that. So yeah, it was a tough time, but it was really the start of my journey of learning to heal from the different things that have happened.
Takes time.
Yeah, it takes a lot of time. I don't want anybody to think that in the year and a half that I wrote this book that it was a year and a half that took me to heal. This was a journey starting when I was
A little girl.
27, 25. Yeah, I was like 27 when this all started. Just the healing part of it all started. Everything coming out and being in the front of the surface, working with different types of counselors and things like that. But my husband and I, suffered some challenges as well. After a couple of years being married, we had a son, and he died. He was born with congenital heart disease. And then 5 years later, I had another son. We had another son, and he's doing wonderful. He's 24 years old, and he's, thriving in life. He's doing wonderful. But when my 24-year-old son was 16 months old, my husband passed away from heart disease as well. So, we didn't know about it. So it was, a shock to.
What, did he get a heart attack?
Yeah, carrying groceries up the stairs. Yeah, just no warning, no nothing. Yeah. So, my life's journey really is, my husband was my rock. He was like I used to say he was like the one person that I always knew, the unconditional love, no matter what happened, no matter what was going on, he was always beside me. And I was always beside him. There was never anything like my best friend, there just was, no matter what happened, we were always together.
Unconditional love.
Yeah, unconditional love, yep. So that was pretty devastating, losing him. And then he really actually helped me, keep the distance between me and my adopted father, so that he didn't upset me and things like that. So when he was gone, my mother came to help me a lot because my son was so little, and I just didn't really have a choice whether or not he was going to be around too, because he was helping with my mom too. So so that was difficult, having him back, so much into my life again, and so involved in my life again. And then the controlling part started again, like making sure I didn't talk about this to anybody, make sure I didn't, tell anybody about it, make sure,
Time to show him the door.
Yeah, well, that wasn't easy. It wasn't easy. I didn't have a lot of, I wasn't courageous, I wasn't resilient, I wasn't, I was broken, really. I had lost my, my son, I'd lost my husband, I was losing my house, I was losing everything. All I had was me and my son, so I just had to, I kind of put healing on hold and kind of forged forward to, be there and take care of my son, because I wanted to make sure there was never ever going to be a situation that, like when I was younger, my son was never going to grow up being hungry, not having a roof over his head, not having stability, not being loved, you know, never ever being abused or anything like that. You know, that none of that was ever going to happen. So I just kind of put the whole, my husband passing, I didn't even really go through the grieving process. I just stayed focused on taking care of my son. That was the focus. So yeah, so like I said, he's doing really well, but you know, once he was in college, I had a lot of free time to kind of work through some things. My mom got really sick. I helped to take care of her during the end of stages of her life. She passed in June of 2015. And then within a couple of weeks, my dad had bladder cancer. We knew he was going to pass soon. So I helped take care of him as well. And that was difficult too, because he kept asking me, you know, when he was in the hospital, I just want to be forgiven. And I said, well, you're not asking the right person for forgiveness. You know, I wanted him to talk to a priest or his higher power, whatever, you know, to you know, release this from him before he passed. And he did, and I think that was one of the best things for both of us. You know, you know, he apologized to me, but it wasn't me. I had already forgiven him, but he didn't know it, just so that I could move on with my life.
Right.
And once they both passed, and I had been journaling for years, I sat down and wrote my memoir about all the things that I had faced and how I came to, you know, a place where, kind of like a place of peace, you know, and I could use the journaling that I had written and used it to put it in a book. And at the end of each chapter, I have like questions. So if you read my book and you're going through any kind of a challenge, and you can answer questions and help you promote some kind of healing if it's something that
For somebody else.
For somebody else, yeah. And the only reason I wrote my book, and I say this to everybody, is to help somebody else. So if you're out there and you've had any kind of, you know, trauma or have any challenges that you're, you know, trying to get through, and, you know, if you just, I'm not trying to, you know, promote the book type thing, but I just want, if you can pick up the book or read it on Kindle for free or anything like that, and it helps you, then, you know, it's done its purpose.
You accomplish.
Yeah. If it helps one other person, it served its purpose.
It's true.
Yeah. So.
It's too bad that something like that happened to who knows how many children.
There are so many people.
Whether female or male,
there
whatever.
There are so many people. Yeah. I worked in a substance abuse unit, and I worked with over 400 clients in a 5-year period, and I can't tell you how many of those people went through the same thing I went through.
Yeah,
but they turn to drug and alcohol to manage their pain.
They can't get it out of the system.
Right, right.
Sometimes it's better to have somebody that you can talk to, and either if it's a priest or a friend, or get out of your system.
And there are a lot of people that I've spoken to too that, you know, they start to see a counselor, but they, you know, that didn't help me. That didn't help me. And the one thing that I can say is, just like you shop for a car or you know, shop around for insurance, shop around for a counselor. If one doesn't fit you, you know, if you're suffering, like I still see a family and trauma counselor, and that's the best counselor for me, because it was family and trauma that was related to all my you know, challenges. But if you're, you know, so if somebody specializes in that, and that's who you want to see, so seek out the right counselor. And don't give up if you don't find the right one. Right. You know?
Sooner or later you find somebody that will be able to help you.
Yeah.
So how come your book is on Kindle and they don't pay for it?
No, Kindle Unlimited. Kindle Unlimited. Some people subscribe to Kindle Unlimited so they could read the book for free.
But why is it for free? You wrote it.
Because they pay for Kindle Unlimited.
So the author doesn't make any money off of it?
Oh, I do. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's what I thought.
Yeah, yeah. Every page they read, yes.
Because I won't allow it.
Yeah. So you could, but you can get it. You could pay for it on Kindle. Kindle Unlimited you pay a subscription, I still would get royalties. But it's, you know, it's out there to help people is my big concern, you know. And I'm doing a companion workbook to this book here. It's in the works, and and then that should be out fairly soon. And I'm going to be having workshops and.
Have you scheduled anything?
Not yet. Nope. I haven't scheduled anything because I'm waiting for the book to be finished because the companion workbook, because you need this workbook for the workshops.
How big is that?
It's about. So it's probably like the size of that paper. So it's like an 8x10 workbook, and I think it's about 180 pages. It's like 3 sections.
She's in a rut because this is 182. So I may
no, this is 288.
What?
So when you do the second book, you let us know. You come back.
Excuse me.
You said
182.
182.
You said 280.
So wrong. You said 288.
I did not. Look at that.
Maybe it's 88 pages. I don't know. It's a
no
workbook.
false advertising here, folks. There you go.
Too many numbers thrown around.
Remember, do not call collect. You're not going to get anybody.
No.
So, you want to go over your website to name it again?
Go ahead.
Can we put the website back up?
Go ahead. Put your
There
there
it is.
There it is. So.
You want to read it? Here, you want to borrow these?
No, I have.
Oh,
got
she has to
it,
put
you
her
got it.
glasses on.
I put my glasses
Well,
on.
Gino
It's
read it, but I'll have an Italian
It's
accent.
white, so it's.
I have it. I can
Oh, there
see
it is.
Yep. So that's me, Wanda Nordlie.
Yeah.
At.
I wrote the speaker.
Yep. Author,
Coach,
speaker, coach.
www.
Well, I hear an
Wanda.
echo, Gino.
.com.
He's reading it for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, my email address is WEN
Right.
at WandaNordlie.com. It
Right.
doesn't say .com, but
Uh-oh, WandaNordlie.com. You missed the .com. They'll never get to you.
No,
Yeah,
the first one
No,
said.
that's the website.
that's the website,
On the
www.
email, there should be a .com.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is.
There
Look
it
at
is.
that.
All right, let's hear
It just
it.
shows up.
All right. Okay. See that? The kids were on vacation from.
Yeah,
we have
that's right.
53 seconds to go in the game. Now, you will be back in 2 weeks on my
Yes.
100th show.
I am. I'm
100th
so
variety
excited.
show, yes.
And that, well, we'll have the workbook and we'll talk about the
Good.
workshops.
And we'll be hawking it for $2,000.
You're going to pay me? Wow.
No, the book we're hawking. How many buyers we get at that rate?
Okay.
It'll be autographed by everybody.
Just me.
No, everybody's going to do it to get it up at the price. So, and in 2 weeks, this is my 100th variety show, and my 148th overall, because I did 48 educational weather shows. Yes.
Yes.
And a foul. Yes. So, thank you, Wanda, for coming
Thank
all the
you.
way
Thank
down
you for
from
having
the
me.
North Pole to be with us today. And Gino, as always,
Yeah.
go home. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Everybody wave. Bye.
Bye.
All right, there it is. And there it is.
Ed Sullivan is dead, but Cohen isn't. And when it comes to weather, Cohen's smart. As New York as you get, his money's on the Mets, which goes to show that Ed's a Joe who always bets his heart. You'll hear a slick review or two from Nicky. And Cantor Something Berg will sing some song. There's weather news and shtick, enough to make you sick. You'll be glad you came along.